This is certainly the darkest Batman movie I've ever seen, mainly because no one ever turns on a lamp. This is Vader Reviews. We are honored that you would join us. Before you get angry about my review, you must ask yourself an honest question. Do you really want to know what I think? Or do you just want to hear what you think echoed back to you in my wizard voice? Director Matt Reeves takes his turn at bat with his grungy take on the Cape Crusader. And while a film about a vengeful guy in a black cape sounds like it would be right up my crime alley, if you saw my trailer reaction, it is no secret that Robert Pattinson had an uphill battle portraying my favorite DC hero. And while he still isn't my favorite version of the character by far, to his credit, I like his performance far more than I thought I would. In fact, for the most part, he wasn't really my problem with the film. Now before you all shoot me down in the comments like Bruce's dead parents, or tell me I have a bat in my belfry, I will say, if you enjoy more grounded, real-world interpretations of superheroes, you will probably like this film. But for me personally, the fun of comic book movies is seeing something theatrical and larger than life. So I'll give you my pros and my comic cons on the movie, but I do want to warn parents this is not a film you want to take your younglings to see. This is a very dark film in the vein of Criminal Minds, where the Riddler feels like a very real serial killer. It isn't something children should see. So if you want to have a family movie night, you're better off waiting for Sonic 2 to hit theaters. So what did I like about this movie? The mood and atmosphere of Gotham City for one thing. Nearly all of the film takes place at night and in the rain. I also really enjoyed how Batman was in his costume for a majority of the picture. The cinematography was artful, and while the slight horror tone of the film wasn't exactly my cup of tea, it was still very well done, and I found myself being drawn into the mystery as Batman tried to stop the Riddler. I'll also give the marketing credit, as it did an excellent job giving you a sense of what to expect going into this movie. That being said, I do think they showed far too much in the trailers. The introduction of the Batmobile was absolutely incredible, a true iconic movie moment. But unfortunately, since the trailer showed the climax of Batman's car chase where he bursts through the flames and wrecks Penguin's car, it made the chase itself anticlimactic for me personally in theaters. Think of it this way. It sort of felt like advertising Star Wars with Luke blowing up the Death Star. So when you watch the film, it makes the entire trench run scene seem less exciting because you already know how it ends. While the fight scenes were brutal and visceral, unfortunately, they showed good portions of those on the trailers as well. So whenever Batman engaged in some good old-fashioned assault and battery, I felt like I'd pretty much seen the entire sequence already. Now I thought Pattinson's batsuit was fine from the neck down, but gee whiz, I hated that mask. And before anyone tries the "he's just starting out, it's homemade" argument, I've seen cosplayers make better Batman cowls out of EVA foam. So don't tell me a billionaire couldn't do better than some nerd in his garage. Also, his equipment is so sophisticated. He has hidden cameras in his contact lenses like something out of Mission Impossible. Did he just give up when he got to his mask? I also hated how invincible he was. He's wearing this tactical armor that while it looks pretty wizard, it is completely bulletproof. And when I say bulletproof, I mean he might as well be Superman because he's literally riddled with bullets and just walks through automatic weapons fire like it's nothing. Everyone's raving about the Penguin, but honestly to me, Colin Farrell felt like gimmick casting, so they could generate buzz in interviews leading up to the film, talking about how visionary the director was and how much Farrell disappeared into the role. But no kidding, he's buried under so much makeup and prosthetics, Zoe Kravits could have been the Penguin for crying out loud. So they might as well have just cast a guy with his own padding, because let's face it, a fat Italian guy is always going to play a better gangster than an Irish pretty boy in a fat suit. But to be fair, at least it's better than the time he played Bullseye in Daredevil, right? Now while these aesthetic choices were mildly annoying, my real complaint with the film is with certain thematic and narrative elements, which give away major plot points, so spoilers ahead. Paul Danno's performance as the Riddler is terrifying for the most part, but we'll get into that later. And while horror films and serial killer vibes aren't really my cup of space tea, I must admit, The first half of this film was drawing me in, as Batman tries to book Danno before he can kill again. But then the movie went and got political and put a damper on the whole thing for me. And while we didn't see the Waynes get blown away in an alley for the third time since Batman '89, director Matt Reeves opts instead for a little post-mortem character assassination. Instead of the noble paragons of Gotham that instill a strong sense of morality and justice in a young Bruce Wayne, this time around, Martha Wayne is in and out of the funny farm all her life because she has bats in the belfry. When a reporter finds out and threatens to ruin Thomas Wayne's mayoral campaign, Tommy Boy tries to buy him off. When that won't work, he goes to Carmine Falcone, a known mob boss, and asks him to make the problem go away. So yeah, Martha's a fruitcake, and Thomas Wayne gets a dude whacked by the mob. And I know they've turned the Waynes into jerks in some versions of the comics, but I think it's stupid there too. Moving on to other puzzling creative choices. Throughout a majority of the film, the Riddler was a legitimately terrifying villain. But all of this was undone for me at the end, when Batman logs into Riddler's computer, and we find out he is essentially a nerdy YouTuber with 500 followers. I mean, for one thing, those are rookie numbers. I haven't been doing this YouTube thing for that long, and we're only 200 subs away from hitting that 2,000 mark. So if you're new to the channel, join the Empire today by subscribing, and together we will rule the internet. Back to the movie though. When Batman starts Riddler's video, he literally rolls into the shot on a wheelie chair, and waves at the camera like a dorky YouTuber and goes, "Hey guys, I just wanted to thank you all for the support you've been giving me," and goes on about how they are a great community and thanks them for giving him tips on how to build bombs. He even has like a super chat window open up on the sides where people are leaving emojis and stuff. It's so dumb. Because now, instead of being this mysterious lone killer with a dizzying intellect that rivals Batman's, he's just a dweeb on Reddit looking for DIY tips on how to be a criminal. Also, it's never addressed how he uncovered the deep levels of corruption in the highest echelons of Gotham City. He just knows because the plot needs him to. And I could have made the jump that, okay, he's this super genius if he was more like the traditional Riddler. But since it turns out he's this miserable little nobody that needs help making bombs from strangers on the internet, I don't buy that he could have gotten to the bottom of Gotham's dirty secrets all on his own. And don't get me started on that crappy Joker reveal at the end. I never thought I'd miss Jared Leto so much. I know I'm sort of the odd man out with this one because a lot of people are loving this movie, and if you liked it, that's great. It was well shot, well acted, and had some great moments I truly enjoyed. But for me personally, unfortunately it was just riddled with too many questionable creative decisions throughout. From the politics and destroying the legacy of the Waynes, to Riddler being a lame dark web YouTuber, and Joker's CW-worthy cameo at the end, the Batman just wasn't for me. So I'll just stick with the Mask of the Phantasm. Before we go, credit where credit is due. I want to thank the main man himself, hero of the Empire. I'm just happy to be a stormtrooper, Adam Jordan, for his generosity. You're a totally wizard, my friend, and the Empire thanks you for your support. If you would like to be part of what we're doing here, please donate to our PayPal today, so we can continue to bring you weekly videos. Everyone who donates will also have their name listed on the end credits of our upcoming fan film, Star Wars Fallen Jedi, as a special thank you. This has been Vader Reviews. Tune in next week, same Vader time, same Vader channel, and always remember, you don't know the power of the dark side.